spot. It's not very good. Obviously, we are all staying home and trying to be safe and healthy. So let me just directly jump into my presentation. It's going to be I have a deck for you, which I'm going to present. I think we have about 30 minutes or so. And after that, we can do some Q&As. Can everyone hear me? I guess so, right? Surely you can hear me, right?
We can hear you. Please continue.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, so the topic is innovative marketing methods for aesthetic medicine practitioners and clinics to explore amid this COVID-19 crisis. So today we are going to go through these topics. We will start with some basic essentials or 101s that you should have already taken care of, I believe. If not, we can go through that quickly. We'll talk about what do you do in terms of marketing during this period. And then there are certain other things like you can pay attention to, especially during this period, like reviews, recommendations, testimonials, how can certain ideas, how you can create some new content. We can go over the annual marketing plan, and then we can touch upon email marketing, social media marketing, and then obviously at the end, how to build a best-in-class website. So let's just jump in. So there are really three basic essentials. Essential number one is keep your clients or your patients informed. It's very important, right? Everybody is going through a very tough time at this point. You might have to close your clinic. Probably in India, you've closed your clinics, or maybe you're just temporarily closed, just attending to emergencies. Or you may have changed certain products or services that you've offered, right? So it's very important that you update all this information, not just now, but throughout this period, because things are going to change, right? I mean, now I think in India, we're in the phase 2 of the lockdown until May 3rd. Hopefully, things will start getting better. You will start reopening, or maybe on the limited hours. And maybe for limited services. So whatever your situation is, very, very important to update that information. Now, where do you want to update it? Obviously, you want to update it on all your online channels. So that includes your website. Make it very prominent on the homepage of your website. So people visiting your site know what's going on. You should update your social media pages. And most importantly, don't forget your Google business profile. People, if you're getting a lot of traffic where people are searching for you organically and coming to your clinic, it's important to go to your business profile and update that information there. So that's essential number one. Here are some examples that we work with some clients. Here's some examples of how we have handled this for them, putting up the message that is relevant to their clinic. I mean, on the right-hand side, you'll see a hair loss clinic in the US. I mean, they are not completely closed, but they are open for limited hours. In India, I think the situation is a little different. So whatever it might be, right? So it's very important to update this on your website. Essential number two is if you're running any ads, it's very important that you change your ads, right? Because again, you're spending money on ads. You want to make sure that you're promoting the right products or the services that you are offering during this time period of time. And for example, that might be, let's say, you're really not doing any procedures. You're not seeing any patients in the clinic, but maybe you've just started virtual consultation. So that's a message, right? That's a message that you want to change on your ads. You want to adjust the budget. And if you want to spend anything on ads during this period, I think, the best strategy is to focus more on branding and then conversions. I mean, you're not going to get any conversions in this period, right? I mean, that's a no-brainer. Nobody's going to be able to come to your clinic. You don't want them to come to your clinic for safety of yours, for your safety, for their safety. So really, at this time, what do you do if you have any money on to spend on ads? Branding is the best way to do it. Um, and the other thing is, some points that you should consider is, people are home, they are spending a lot of time online, they're spending a lot of time on their devices. On the other hand, a lot of the regular ads that you see have been pulled down. So what that means is, ad rates have gone down. So obviously you can stretch your dollar, you can advertise more at a lower cost. So if you have some money to spend, yes, do spend it, use it on branding. Essential number two. And the last one is really, adapting to the situation that we are in right now, right? I mean, probably this is a very unprecedented times. Nobody thought about this before. Nobody thought that you could not go to your clinic for weeks together. So how do you adapt? I mean, if you've not been doing, some people probably were doing some sort of video consultations before. Um, if you're not doing that, maybe it's a good idea to jump onto it. We have helped a lot of our clients set this up. We have a product for, the virtual video consultations end to end. And it's a great tool for first consultations, right, with new patients. When you're talking to your patients or clients the first time, they have a lot of questions, and a lot of that, a lot of the discussion is really clinical, that you're just kind of discussing their concerns, maybe charting out a plan of treatment for them. So this is the best time to do those kind of things. What this does is, you're there for your patients to answer their questions. You have plenty of time at this point, they have plenty of time. This is this is something that is going to work out for both of you in terms of time, and it just generates a lot of leads which will convert into patients when you reopen. So this is important. If you're not into the virtual video consultations, it's a great idea to jump onto it now. Again, make sure that streamlining of it end to end is important. I mean, you should make it easy for your patients to book appointments with you on your calendar. They should be easy. It should be easy for them to join the meetings and make payments online if you're charging them some kind of a consultation fee. So all this is important, right? So now, having just having gone through all the basic essentials, I hope that you guys have probably taken care of most of these things. And if you have not, then it's still not late. You should take care of these things right now, because I think there's still period of 2 weeks of lockdown, and don't expect that things are going to change right away overnight, right after May 3rd. And this is an example of a client that we have, where we have just announced that they are now open for virtual video consultations, using social media, using their website. So yes, I mean, you need to make those announcements, make people aware that you are available for them for any kind of virtual video consultations, if you are going to jump into it. So having said that, let's jump into marketing. How do you do marketing during this COVID-19 crisis, right? And before we go there, why don't we just look at the term marketing, right? I mean, what is marketing? So I mean, marketing, the way it's defined in the dictionary is like an action, or it's like a business of promoting and selling your goods, or selling your goods or services, or your services and procedures, or whatever you offer. But really, if you think about it, it's much more than that, right? Marketing is not just that anymore. It's not just about selling. It's really boils down to building relationships with your clients, getting to know them, connecting with them, getting them interested in you, and building that trust. So you're their doctor, and you're the one that they want to trust for the best advice that they can get, especially in this period. You may have some existing patients. They may be concerned that they have an appointment with you at some point which they cannot do now. So what happens? especially where there are recurring sessions, right? I mean, you have a PRP sessions with someone. Okay, now what happens? I took one session. Now next appointment is in next week. I cannot make it. I mean, you cannot do that. So what happens to that? Right? How does their treatment go with that kind of situation that we are into right now? So yes, I mean, that is what they're looking for, right? So it's really building relationships. So what do you do in this COVID-19 crisis in terms of marketing? I mean, short-term marketing tactics, I think just stop doing all of that, right? I mean, when I say short-term marketing tactics, it's really, sales, discounts. I mean, none of that is going to work, right? If you want to focus on anything short term, I mean, just limit it to specific services that are relevant to this period. I mean, an example again would be the virtual consults. So maybe that's what you can do in terms of short term. Really, what you want to do in this period is focus on the long term marketing tactics. So invest in your brand, build your brand, connect with your patients, um, engage with them, educate them, build that trust. So that is overall, the approach that you want to take for this period. Now we'll jump into the specifics of how do you do it, right? Because that's the most important part. So let's move on. So let's first talk about reviews, recommendations, testimonials, right? I mean, you have your staff, which is home. They have plenty of time as well, right? I mean, there's no clinic. They're not coming to the clinic. So one thing is, you could ask your staff to go through all the visits in the last 6 months or more, and then call each of those patients and check on them, right? Check on them. How are they? They're safe. They're healthy. If they're happy with your practice, and then, once you start that conversation with them, it's not a bad idea to ask them to give you a review on Google, Facebook. You can make it easy by sending them a link. And, typically people, they have time now, and they will, you should get a good response. In fact, some of the clients that I'm working with, this has worked out very well with them. They are getting reviews. Now, let me tell you something that Google reviews, Google has stopped posting the reviews online, meaning if someone gives you a review, it's not going to be visible on your Google listing right away in this period. And they've done that specifically to protect all these small businesses from any kind of malicious reviews, or something to sabotage other businesses. A lot of bad practices also start coming up in the bad times, right? People do all sorts of things. But let me assure you, what happens is, if you ask your patient to give you a review, the review is queued up, and when things open up, you would have just collected some good positive reviews for your clinic. So that's number one, right? Important. That's how you tackle this. Now the next thing is, obviously, content is king. And if you have some spare time, which probably you do, I think it's a great idea to sit down and start putting some content together, which then you can give it to your agency and they can just distribute it on your website, social media, etc. So the first piece of content is Q&As, right? I mean, what are Q&As? Q&As are questions and answers, and that's really a great way to rank on Google. If you search on Google, you will see that on the search results, there's a section called as People Also Ask. And Google kind of just figures out all these queries and the top queries that are coming in, and they try to match up those queries with answers from websites. If the approach that you would take here is, you kind of try to write down those questions exactly how the patients ask you, because that's the way that they are really searching on Google, right? The way they ask you. And if you put your answers together exactly the way you would explain it to any patient in your clinic, that's what is important, right? I mean, your voice, your philosophy, or your style approach, your tone of how you talk, this all brings this unique character to all your content that you're producing in terms of answers and question and answers, right? And this is what will make you rank. So I mean, the tip here is try to sit down for some time and Every day you can kind of put that into discipline where you write about 6 to 8 question answers. And then, once you've collected a bunch of them, work with your agency to publish them. That's a great idea. So the next piece of content is, and this is an example of that people also ask section on the Google search. If you probably have noticed this when you've been searching. Next thing is videos. So now if you have your question answers as a written up material, why not convert that into short videos? I mean, videos are, videos basically give you a lot of engagement. People like to see videos. People like to see their doctor talk. So, shoot some videos, convert those Q&As into short videos. You can also pick like one procedure, a day or something like that, and try to just put together some kind of a informational video on that procedure. Research has shown that videos, I mean, I don't think I have to tell you this, you guys watch a lot of videos too, I'm sure. So videos get the best engagement in general overall, right? Now, the question is, how do you make these videos? So really, you don't need any fancy equipment. You can just use your smartphone, which has, already has a good quality camera in it. And just make sure that you have good lighting. Try to use white light or daylight. That works very well with videos. Try to do the videos in a landscape format. Don't try to do the verticals, because I know that Instagram, you have all these vertical videos or square videos really. But if you do it in the landscape format, it's very easy to convert them into any other format. So that's the best practice, is to do it in a horizontal or a landscape format. And as I said, just use your equipment. You don't have to over productionize those videos. Sorry. People like to see videos that are organic, meaning, not too much production into it, right? Not too much editing, not too much music and animations. They just want to see the doctor talk, just naturally, the way they are sitting in front of the doctor and talking to the doctor, right? That's how it works. So that's videos. Before afters, yeah, I mean, I've been talking to so many of my clients, and they say, hey, we have a lot of pictures before and afters, but hey, it's in our camera roll and we've just not gotten time to sort them out. Well, you could use this time, to do that. I mean, go through your camera roll, look at the before afters, organize them by procedure, pick the best ones where you've gotten the best results. Of course, make sure that you have the patient's consent before you use any of these before afters for marketing. Watermark your pictures. Hide the face where if it's not a procedure on the face, or then hide the eyes. Make sure you kind of conceal the identity of the patient. And the biggest tip here is, if you feel the need to label your before after pictures, then your picture is not good enough to put up online. I mean, you can use that as a thumb rule. So I think the best way these things work is you put up a picture and the patient exactly knows, or who is watching that online knows what is before and knows what is after. So, sometimes you can even use this kind of material to create some kind of contest, or like a quiz online on social media, where you put this before after and let the patients guess what that procedure was in comments. So there are a lot of these things that you can do. So this content is very, very useful, and most of you probably have it. So mind that and put it to use. The next item on the content side is stories and experiences. So again, this, you probably have a lot of stories about your patients. You have a lot of case studies where you have done some new procedures or new techniques, or maybe you have some new product that you have at your clinic that you're offering, and you have kind of been successful with that product with some patients. Yeah, put this together, right? I mean, everybody loves stories. They want to see real patients, real case studies, and then that's how they relate to that kind of procedure and that the outcome, and they see themselves in it, right? So again, this is very, very useful in terms of content. And what I've put here together is all the content that you can put in as a doctor. Only you know it, right? It's your business, it's your practice. You may hire a digital marketing agency, but they can write blogs for you, which are generic. This is something that only you can provide. So if you have the time now, please use it and put this together. And it doesn't have to be polished. I mean, your marketing agency can polish the content, but those notes, that information is very important. So having covered the content, let's go to the next topic, which is the annual marketing plan. And again, let's just talk about what goes in an annual marketing plan, right? So this slide talks about the different terms. I mean, I'm sure probably you are aware of most of them. Offers are just flat discounts. Package offers are, you package certain things, either multiple services or multiple sessions of the same service. And then you give some kind of promotions like save 20% on 6 sessions or get 5 sessions and get 6 free, something like that, right? So that's package offers. But then there are some other ones like, cross promotions. So I don't know, cross promotions is very underutilized in the market. I've seen that, but that's one of my favorites. I mean, typically I do not advise my clients to discount themselves too much. Give a 20% discount, give a 15% discount. I mean, I rather have my clients do a cross promotion. So what's a cross promotion is you purchase a particular procedure, and you say that, okay, if you purchase that procedure, or if you get that procedure with us, you get another one which is related to it for free. So for example is, let's say if you get, you get 20 units of Botox free when you do 5 sessions of, let's say, RF skin tightening, for example. Or you can mix Botox with fillers. You can, there are various ways of doing this. So the cross promotions is very, very, that's one of my favorites. I mean, that works very well. It also kind of widens the different services that you're giving to that patient. You have a patient who's always coming to you for, let's say they're coming to you for, they start with radio frequency skin tightening. Now you introduce them to Botox by giving that free. And, that's how you can cross sell and upsell. And then there are others like gift cards, sales events, seminars, and contests. I won't go through all of them in detail at this time. But let's just now talk about, once we know what the ingredients of the marketing plan are, right? Let's talk about how do you make a marketing plan, right? So again, if you are a clinic who was already ahead of this game and you have a marketing plan, that's great. But again, at this time, you have to revisit it because things have changed. If you're a clinic who has not made a marketing plan, I mean, now is a good time to get started on it, right? I mean, there's any time is a good time to get started with the annual marketing plan. Even if it says annual, the word annual refers to you're really planning out a rolling 12 months. And why 12 months? Because that's the cycle, right? I mean, within those 12 months, you get to see everything, right? There's a wedding season that comes in, the summer comes in, holidays come in, school starts, all those things happen, right? The festivals coming in. So if you plan for that 12 months, you really covered everything. And that's why we call it as an annual marketing plan. Very important. Why do you need this AMP? I mean, you got to realize that marketing has a huge impact on your net profitability. And let me talk about what is net profitability, right? So you got your sales. I mean, you're selling your services, you're selling your procedures, and that's generating revenue. And then you got your costs. So you're paying the rent, you're paying salaries, maybe you're doing marketing, all those are expenses. So revenue minus your expenses is your profits, right? That's the money that goes into your pocket as a clinic owner. And if you don't watch that number, then obviously, you're not going to be successful as a business or even sustain for a very long time. So focusing on that, net profitability is important. And that just kind of now goes into, okay, how do you plan your marketing? How do you put this plan together, right? What procedures are more profitable for you? What procedures are, so that's why this cross promotions, which are the procedures where you are making good revenue, which are the procedures where you're losing money, right? I mean, maybe there's some, I don't know, I'm just going to pick something, hair transplant. There's so many people, there's so many shops today which are doing hair transplants, and they are kind of have this race to the bottom, right? They're like dropping their prices and it's just becoming tough. So you got to really decide who you are, what you're doing, and what you need to plan in terms of your services, how to promote them. And that's how this whole marketing plan gets built towards one goal, which is becoming profitable or increasing your profitability. So really, that's the plan. You need it. That's why you need it. There are just 4 kind of techniques that you would use, which are proven. I mean, you would basically want to do like monthly cross promotions or contests on a every month basis. Do not discount. I again say, do not discount your services every month. Discount only one time. And when you want to discount is just at a quarterly sales event. So every quarter you can have a big discount, but do not discount every month, because that just kind of drops your value. Weekly social media, weekly e-blast, all that kind of goes together with the plan. So having done your marketing plan, now in terms of execution, how do you execute, right? I mean, obviously, as I talked about this weekly e-blasts, email is not dead. I mean, if people are telling you that email is dead, I mean, you are reading emails today. Probably you joined this call today, you clicked on the link, which was on the email. So there you are, right? I mean, people are reading emails. I mean, actually, in this time, people are spending so much time on their devices that there is a great chance that they're going to read your email. Use email marketing to the maximum in this time, right? It is cheap. I mean, it really doesn't cost much. So you obviously you are kind of right now in a difficult situation in terms of your finances. There's no income coming in. This is a great way to do marketing. Email messages are important. Focus on the message of the email, the subject line. Make sure that it's very personal. Email is a one-to-one communication, right? You're sending an email, it's going to someone else. Make it like one. Personalize every email you send. And then most important is track metrics on every email, right? So you need to know the open rate, the click rate, how many people opened, clicked, how much time they're spending on the emails, and what devices, what locations. All this is important. So email is important. And here's an example for one of our clients. So how we've mixed some channels here. So what we've done is, here's a client who has put up a video on Facebook. Now you got to realize that Facebook is everybody's on Facebook right now. Everybody has a lot of free time. They're doing a lot of posts. So you're competing in their news feed, right? Facebook has a lot of content that is generated by users, and you're competing in their news feed. So how do you promote this video is, well, we have used email. So we send email, and this particular client is sitting on the database of thousands of emails over the last 10, 12 years that he's been practicing. So, that's a great thing. If you have this large database of emails, use them to cross promote. This is an example we've used to mix these channels and drive traffic to this video. And this video is about, I think, COVID that he put up about 3 weeks ago. The next one is social media. I mean, social media, you cannot avoid social media today. There are like billions of people on it. Every day you're every day you're touching your phone like 150 times a day, right? That's what you're doing. I mean, your phone is in your hand all the time, and then you're going to social media and everybody's there. So you got to be there, obviously. I mean, it's a necessary evil. Even if you don't like social media, you got to be on social media. And studies have shown that patients base their choice of the doctor that they want to go to. They base that more on the doctor's website ranking and the doctor's social media presence than the doctor's education, skills, and experience. I mean, it's something. It's not a good thing, but that's the reality. So, your degree, your education, your experience, that's on one side, but they also want to look at, okay, how do you look on Google? How do you look on social media? So that's why it's important. I mean, what is social media? I mean, again, the way I define social media, it's a channel to connect with your target audience and build their trust, right? What does not work on social media? Direct sales does not work. I mean, I've seen a lot of people who are like, again, discounting their services, and all the messages, or the only messages they're really sending are 15% of this, 20% of that. It's not a channel for direct sales. It's definitely not a channel for direct sales. I mean, you could talk about a procedure, and you can educate them about how another procedure might be complementary and useful. Do those cross promotions, do those contests. That is great. um, what is really important on social media is engagement, right? So I mean, that's why you need to put content that is engaging. You need to put content that gets you comments, gets you likes, and gets you shares. It doesn't matter how many people you're reaching. It's really, how many people are engaging with your post. That is what is important. And lastly, we will talk about the website. So obviously, your website is the single most, marketing asset, or the biggest investment in marketing that you would want to make, right? Because that is your front face for your practice. I mean, even though there is social media and whatever, website is important. Website has a long form. You can have a long form content on it. You can have a page which just goes on and on, talking about some procedures. So you cannot you cannot fit all of that in social media. You just cannot. Social media is a way you can drive traffic to your website, but website is very, very critical, right? The home page obviously is the biggest page, very important page. Clearly, you should state on your home page very clearly what your products and services are. I mean, don't put, I mean, even if you do a lot of things, you need to really pick and choose what is important to you and put that on the home page. Make it very simple, not very confusing. You should talk about your USP, or your value proposition. You should talk about how the users who are visiting your site can get started with you. So there should be a clear call to action, whether it's, book an appointment with you. I mean, in these days, yes, book a virtual appointment with me. Or maybe as you reopen, yeah, book an appointment for the clinic, which location, all those things, right? Homepage, very important. And of course, the other pages, then about us, contact us, are as important as well. Service pages, I mean, yes, for every service that you provide, you should have a page, and it should be really detailed. You should try to make it as unique as possible for you. These days, I've seen a lot of the marketing agencies, they have all the same content picked up from somewhere, um, and that doesn't help you rank your website, right? And how do you make it unique is, again, remember the content tips that I gave you before. It's your stories, it's your patients, it's your before afters, it's your approach, it's your videos, it's you talking, it's your patients talking, testimonials. All that is what makes it unique. So I guess just a little over maybe, but I guess this is the end of our presentation. I don't know if Shreya, I want to just transfer over to you if there are any questions. This is the time to ask
Yes,
questions.
Mr. Harshal, thank you so much for that session. But we have questions that have come in, two questions. So one is from Essence Aesthetic Clinic. This came in at the time when you were briefing on your tips for content, where you
Okay.
mentioned about, prepare a kind of a Q&A where your questions are exactly how patients normally ask, and you respond also in a way that you normally respond to them in the clinic. So the query
Mhm.
was that, is this kind of an approach to be taken for the website or for Google or for which platform?
Well, I mean, the way you want to look at content is content, right? I mean, you basically create the content, and then you want to then distribute it. Definitely, you want to put it on your website. So to answer that question, yes, this content that you create, Q&As, is for your website. So for every service page, you may, if you have a Q&A, then you can put all of that on your website. There are technical ways where you can create some, mark the metadata behind it so that Google can understand that that's a question and answer. But again, that's not just it, right? I mean, once you have this content, you can maybe post them on Facebook. Through 1 week, you can have one or two questions asked every week, and have people comment on it, what they're thinking. You can use that content everywhere, right? I mean, obviously, website you have to, but it's a content that is created. You can use it on your Facebook. You can use it on as a video, as I said. You can put it into a video, right?
Right. We also have a question from Rajnikant Parmar on how do you see cosmetic practice after COVID-19? And do you really think that, spending on marketing, investing in marketing during this crisis would help generate business?
So again, these are really unprecedented times, right? No one has seen them before. And so with this crisis, obviously, it is also going to be followed by some kind of an economic crisis. I mean, there's no doubt about it, right? Because things have closed, people are probably losing jobs, and people are getting worried about it. The stock markets are falling, they've lost some money, whatever it might be. So the outlook, I mean, the outlook is, well, the people, but what you got to remember, I mean, the short term, of course, there's going to be impact, because again, all this aesthetic procedures that we talk about, they're all, as we call in the US, they're electives, right? You don't have to do them. It's not like something you have to do them in an emergency. It's just because you want to look better, you want to do them. And so that is going to be a little tough. But again, you got to remember that things are going to come back to normal, obviously. And people always want to see a better of themselves. So they are going to come back. In the short term, don't know, to be honest with you, but long term, yes, definitely yes, right? And that's why I said, when you're looking at marketing, don't focus on the don't invest anything in the short term tactics. Do invest in the long term. So do invest in your content, on your SEO, building relationship, increasing your followers, whatever that might be, right? That is important.
We have a question from Santosh Bhatia. Of course, he's appreciated you on the presentation, saying it's a great one, and I agree. His question is, how does one change the annual maintenance plan based on the current scenario?
Yes, so that's a good question. And Santosh is my client, by the way. just want to be upfront about it. So again, Santosh, the annual marketing plan, as I said, right? I mean, you got to, how do you change it based on the current scenario? You got to, again, when you, let's just assume that we are all going to open up, right, soon, in sometime in May. Maybe not right after May 3rd, but sometime in May we're going to open up. So when you're opening your clinic, it's not that you're going to get a flood of people, and you don't want to allow a flood of people to come into your clinic anyways, for safety reasons, right? I mean, you're going to assume that everybody who is walking into your clinic is COVID positive, and you've got to take all these steps now before you even see that person. So what you want to focus on is, again, what are the procedures that someone who's coming, someone who's going to entry. Let's start with entry level procedures, right? Something which is not very invasive, and then slowly bring those patients into more injectables, maybe, and then maybe into surgery, right? So that's I mean, again, Santosh is a plastic surgeon, so he does a lot of things. So I think that's my advice. I mean, that's how you would now change your plan, right? I mean, in a plan, you may want to start talking about those low, very minimally invasive procedures and get them started on that. Again, because again, right, people probably do not want any injectables in them for whatever reason. They have this fear, hey, I'm going to get the virus through the injectables, maybe. I don't know. I mean, there's so many concerns now, right? So that is how I look at it. And we have to change the plan. We have to adapt it. We have to keep looking at it every month and adapting it as per the period as it goes on.
Another question again from Essence Aesthetic Clinic. Is it wise to spend money on platforms like JD or Practo or Liberate or Google Ads? What is your take on this?
So platforms like what is the other platform? Practo, and what is the
Practo,
first one?
Liberate, Google Ads.
Liberate. Okay, yeah. See, these are really directories. If you go to see, right, Liberate, Practo, these are really directories, right? And I always, I mean, whether it's COVID or it's not COVID, my opinion is that you should not spend any money on those. I mean, they have a free listing, which is fine, but you really should spend money on you building your own brand. I mean, someone is searching on Google today, what you see is What Clinic, Liberate, India Mart, and Practo. And I think, why shouldn't doctors be listed there, right? Why shouldn't doctors' websites directly be listed there? So that's really my opinion about it from day one. It's not about this period.
Well, I think that's it on our list. Any more questions from the attendees? What I'll do is, maybe if we have some more questions coming in, I would just take this time to add a few more details. To begin with, I would like to thank you, Mr. Harshal Limaye, for this informative session, for all your time. And thank you all our attendees for your valuable time as well. If you want to view this session again or share it within your business circle, if you also missed the session yesterday that we had, the videos are available on our website, aestheticmed.in. On the coming Tuesday, which is April 21st, we have Dr. Ganesh Lakshmanan. He's the CEO and co-founder of Kairos Solutions India. He will be live with us speaking on why and how marketing is going to be the tool to business revival amid economic and business uncertainties, and with perspective for the aesthetic fraternity, including the devices and the pharmaceutical companies. Also, to keep up to date on our latest articles and webinars, please subscribe to our weekly newsletter and visit our website. I think the details of our website would be on the chat box as I speak. Also, the digital edition of our magazine, we're keeping it available during this period for download on our website. And I would take this platform to announce that we celebrate our anniversary month, Aesthetic Medicine's anniversary month in May. And the forthcoming anniversary edition will feature India's 100 dermatologists. So do log on to our website for your copy. We also have an annual industry event, AM India, which is an expo cum conference scheduled for this year in September. Our dates for now are 26th, 27th at the Bombay Exhibition Center. Again, all the details on our website. And do subscribe to Aesthetic Medicine YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, like us on Facebook. All the details to our social media handles are being shared by Hiya Thakkar on the chat box for your easy access. So thank you. We don't have any more questions coming in. So if we do, I'm sure you had your email ID shared at the end of the presentation, and they could connect with us as well to have any queries coming.
Yes, I mean, if there are any more questions, please send an email at hello@Mktg.Doctor, and I'll be happy to answer them. I just want to thank everyone for joining this, and stay home, stay safe, and stay healthy.
Yes, definitely. Stay safe, and everybody have a great evening. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.